Two siblings strike a graceful pose for a portrait. Over 100 years later, picture restorers enlarge the image and stumble upon a concealed nightmare that will alter everything. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss a fresh video. Isabel Montero carefully adjusted her dust mask while examining the old relics that had survived decades of neglect inside the Vidal estate in Barcelona. As a heritage restoration expert, she had seen many old houses in poor condition. But this particular mansion had a strangely sad and heavy atmosphere. The Vidal family had been one of Barcelona's most powerful and wealthy families in the early 1900s. Yet their entire bloodline mysteriously vanished during the 1930s. The grand house, with its high ceilings and dusty stained glass windows, had stayed locked up for 9 decades until the city council finally decided to turn it into a museum. "Isabel, come look at this," called Carlos Ruiz, her assistant, from the first floor.
"I've found something really interesting in the study."
Isabel climbed the wide marble staircase, her footsteps echoing loudly through the silent, empty house. Carlos was kneeling beside an old dark wood desk, carefully opening a metal box that had been hidden inside a secret compartment. "Look," said Carlos, showing her what was inside. "Old family photos, papers, some of them seem very ancient." Isabel took the first picture from the pile. It was a brown-toned image, showing 2 well-dressed girls posing gracefully in what looked like the manor's beautiful garden. The girls, around 8 and 10 years old, wore pretty white lace dresses and ribbons in their hair. The younger one held a porcelain doll, while the older one kept a stiff, formal pose that was common in that period. "The back says June 1901, noted Carlos, flipping the photo over. "Catalina and Mercedes Vidal." Isabel studied the picture more closely. Something unsettling appeared in the girls' expressions, especially their eyes. It wasn't just the usual serious look seen in old-time photos. It felt deeper, darker, and more disturbing. "I need to examine this more carefully," murmured Isabel, tucking the photo into her work bag. "I'll take it to the lab for proper analysis." That night, in her restoration workshop, Isabel scanned the photograph at high resolution. As she adjusted the contrast and brightness to sharpen the image, she began noticing small details she had completely missed with the naked eye. Her expression slowly changed from professional curiosity to growing alarm.
"This can't be,"
she whispered, leaning closer toward the screen. Isabel arrived early at the lab the next morning, eager to continue working on the photo. She had spent a restless night, troubled by what she had seen in the enlarged image. She needed to confirm her suspicions before jumping to any conclusions. Using special digital restoration software, she started inspecting every part of the photograph with great precision. What she found left her shocked and breathless. The younger girl, Catalina, showed clear signs of serious malnutrition. Her thin face and hollow eyes stood out sharply against her fancy dress. But even more disturbing was what appeared to be a skin rash on her neck and arms, barely visible under the delicate lace. "Symptoms of scarlet fever," murmured Isabel, recognizing the terrible illness that had killed so many children in the early 1900s. But why would? Do they pose her for a formal photo in that condition? Her gaze then moved to Mercedes, the older girl. When she enlarged the image further, Isabel noticed what looked like faded bruises on the girl's left arm, partly hidden by the dress sleeve. Even more troubling was the barely hidden terror in Mercedes's eyes. Isabel sat back in her chair, shivering. As a mother of 2 young daughters, she instantly recognized the marks of mistreatment and neglect. But there was something else in the photo that she couldn't quite name or understand. She decided to call Dr. Emilio Vasquez, a medical historian at the University of Barcelona who specialized in diseases from the 19th and 20th centuries. If anyone could confirm her suspicions about the girl's health, it was him. "Dr. Vasquez," said Isabel when he answered the phone, "I need you to look at an old photograph. I think it shows signs of illness and possible child abuse from 1901. "Interesting," replied the doctor. Back then, families often took photos to preserve a memory before it was too late, especially if children were very sick. Isabel felt another chill run down her spine. Post-mortem photos. Not necessarily, but yes, photos taken when time was known to be short. It was common among wealthy families.
Bring me the image.
While preparing the photo to show the doctor, Isabel couldn't stop wondering what had truly happened to Catalina and Mercedes Vidal and why their parents had chosen to take such an elaborate picture when one girl was clearly so ill. Dr. Emilio Vasquez examined the enlarged photograph with the careful eye of a forensic expert. As a medical history specialist, he had seen hundreds of similar images, but few as disturbing as this one. "Isabel, your instincts are right," he finally said, pointing to the visible symptoms in Catalina. "This girl shows advanced scarlet fever. See the rash on her neck and extreme paleness. In 1901, that was basically a death sentence." Isabel looked at the bruises on Mercedes. The doctor adjusted his glasses and studied the older girl's arm closely. These bruise patterns match a strong grip, probably from adult hands. And here, he pointed to a faint mark on Mercedes's cheek that looked like a healing blow. "Are we seeing evidence of child abuse from over a century ago?" asked Isabel, feeling sick to her stomach.
It seems so, but there's something even more disturbing, continued the doctor. The composition is very odd.
Normally, a gravely ill child would be in bed, not posing for a formal portrait. And Mercedes also showing signs of trauma suggests this family had serious problems. Isabel studied the girls' expressions again. Their eyes seemed to be begging for help. Exactly. In my experience, when children in old photos show this mix of fear and resignation, there were usually terrible circumstances at home. The doctor leaned back, thinking, "Isabel, you need to dig deeper into this family." In 1901, wealthy families often hid illness and abuse to protect their social standing. If these girls were suffering, it's possible no one officially recorded what happened to them. "Where should I look?" asked Isabel. "Parish records, death notices from the era, hospital archives. Also Barcelona's charity records if these girls died or disappeared. There must be some paper trail." Isabel carefully packed the photograph, determined to uncover the truth about Catalina and Mercedes Vidal, but part of her dreaded what she might find. Her search took her to the archives of the Sagrada Familia Basilica. The archivist, Sister Carmen, who had worked there for 40 years, helped her go through old leather-bound volumes. "The Vidals appear often in our books," explained Sister Carmen. "They were major church benefactors, but now that you mention it, there's something odd about the 1901 entries." Isabel found the record. Catalina Vidal died on July 15, 1901 from scarlet fever, but there was no death record for Mercedes. She simply vanished from all documents after July 1901. Even more strange, the father had requested a special mass for the souls of both daughters. The investigation continued at the old charity archives. There, Dr. Montserrat Farah found a record from August 1901. Mercedes Vidal, age 10, admitted because of abnormal behavior following family trauma. She had selective mutism and night terrors. The family sent her to the Santa Eulalia Asylum. Mercedes stayed locked away in the asylum for 17 long years until 1918. When she was finally released at age 27, she worked as a seamstress. Later, she married a shoemaker named Antonio Rivers, changed her name, and had a daughter named Carmen in 1936. The Spanish Civil War tore the family apart. Antonio died in 1938. Mercedes fled to France with little Carmen in 1939. In 1942, she returned to Spain alone, saying her daughter had died of tuberculosis, but the truth was different. Carmen had survived, been placed in an orphanage, and was later adopted by a French family. She grew up as Carmen Moreau, never knowing her full past. Years later, Isabel tracked down Mercedes's grandson, Jean-Paul Moreau, in Toulouse. She showed him the 1901 photograph and told him the whole heartbreaking story. Jean-Paul was deeply moved. He and his brothers traveled to Barcelona for a special ceremony at Montjuïc Cemetery, where they placed a proper headstone on Mercedes's common grave. They brought the piece of lace from Mercedes's childhood dress and the unsent letters she had written to her daughter over the years. At the ceremony, they read one of the letters aloud. "My dear Carmen, Every decision I made was out of love. I hope you can forgive your mother who did the best she could with the difficult circumstances life gave her." Isabel later published a book about the tragic yet inspiring story of the Vidal sisters. The original photograph now hangs in the Barcelona History Museum with all the documents. It serves as a powerful reminder that behind every old image there are real human stories of pain, survival, courage, and a mother's quiet sacrifice. The descendants created a scholarship in Mercedes's name to help young refugees, turning a story of hidden suffering into one of hope and healing for future generations.